What is the best full power HF radio? Full power 100 watt HF radio for use with Parks on the Air. Parks on the Air is a fantastic event. And what is the best radio you should be looking at if you want to do 100 watts, Parks on the Air, portable? We're going to talk about it right now.
CQ POTA, CQ Parks on the Air, Kilo Charlie 5, Hotel with Bravo.
Ham Radio 2.0 reviews, news, and how-tos of things that are new in amateur radio. Guys, I get asked this question all the time. What's the best radio for Parks on the Air? So this is a very subjective question. I'm going to give you my list of my 10 top radios for Parks on the Air. Here's a caveat real quick and a little disclaimer. There are great radios for Parks on the Air that do QRP. 5 watts, 10 watts, 15, 20 watts, something like that. QRP is technically 10 watts or less, but some people consider the KX3, which does 15 watts, and the Zygo G90, which does 20 watts QRP as well. You can find a whole list of the best QRP radios, according to me, at this link right here. So go check that out later. But right now we're talking about 100 watt radios. This is what's called barefoot in the amateur radio world. If you buy a radio and it does 100 watts, it's considered barefoot because it doesn't have an amplifier and it's also not QRP. So I'm going to give you my top 10 choices for Parks on the Air radios that you can purchase today. Some of them are new, some of them are not new. So unlike some of these best of series videos that I've done in the past, this one will include some used stuff and where to get it and how to check prices on it. So stick around to the end, check out all 10 of these. At the end of it, I'm going to give you a secret keyword to see if you watch to the end. So check this out right now. In the past, I've gone in order of price, starting at the lowest price, moving up to the highest price, not in any particular order for quality or just what is exactly the best. It's just what's the lowest price, what's the highest price. Today, I'm going to give you my top 2 first. Okay, these are the top 2 radios. Obviously, the Icom IC7300, which has been around for 5 or 6 years at the time of this recording, is probably the best and most used HF radio in the world today if you're going to go buy a brand new radio. It's very lightweight. It has a beautiful waterfall. It has a great tuner. It has built-in sound card, which means you can plug it directly into the computer with one USB cable and work digital modes like FT8, PSK31, and all these. FT8's pretty popular to work at Parks on the Air. There's a lot of people that call CQ POTA, CQ POTA, and they'll make Parks on the Air contacts via digital like that. It'll also do CW, it'll do AM, it'll do single sideband, upper sideband, lower sideband, all the modes. And it does everywhere from 6 meters down to 160 meters. So it's a full-fledged HF radio with 6 meters included. Today's price is $12.99. You get a mail-in rebate for about $100 right now. This radio in the past has been as low as like $850, $900 brand new. Black Friday a few years back, there was a sale, and it was like going for like $879 or $889, something like that. It was just under $900. Prices were raised, and now with the supply chain issues affecting the entire planet, the price is a little bit higher than it used to be. When these radios were brand new, they were selling for $14.99, and at Dayton Hamvention that year, they could not keep these radios on the shelf. They were selling out so fast. $12.99 is really still a good price. $11.99 after rebate, so you have to wait for that $100 rebate. And this is one of the most popular radios to be used in Parks in the Air because it's been around a long time. It's small, lightweight, and portable, and all the other things I just said. Its competitor, which can be kind of a point of discussion, okay? The IC7300 has gone up to $12.99 with a $100 rebate, so it's right about $1,200 after rebate. The Yaesu FT891 is currently selling for $13.95 with a $100 coupon applied, so it's about $200 more. When this radio released last year before last maybe, when this radio was released, it was $16.99, so it has come down in price. This radio has a better front end, a better receiver. It is better for handling pileups. If you start to call CQ POTA and you get a lot of stations coming back to you, it's a little bit easier to hear that pileup because it's got a more stable and better receiver on the front end, so it's a little bit more competition-grade radio. Now, understand, this radio is 5 or 6 years newer than the Icom. So if Icom and Yaesu had built these radios about the same time, they'd probably be a lot more comparable than they are now. But with 5, 6, 7 years newer technology, whatever the number is, newer technology of the FTDX10, it gives you a little bit better filtering. It's a better receiver according to the Sherwood reports, and it's still got everything that the Icom has. Beautiful waterfall, great display, built-in tuner, built-in sound card for doing FT8 and other digital modes, and it sells for $13.95 today. So these two radios are the top two radios that I would recommend for Parks on the Air. Whichever one you choose, you're not going to go wrong. You're going to have a great time with it. It's going to be very successful, and you're going to be able to make a lot of POTA contacts. Now, if you say, Jason, I don't really have $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 for a radio. I want to do Parks on the Air, and I want 100 watts. But I don't have that much money right now. Okay, great. You should choose a Yaesu if you're going to go buy something new. You should choose the Yaesu FT891. This one sells for currently $640 at gigaparts.com. You can get, there's no rebate or anything right now. This one's a smaller, more compact radio. It has a removable screen, unlike the first two we just talked about. So it's really made to be mounted in a car. So you can mount the radio in the trunk, in the back seat, remotely somewhere, remote the head up to your dashboard, or you can mount the whole radio on your dashboard if you have a place for it. And it does 100 watts on everything. It does 6 meters to 160. It's a great radio. The only thing this one is missing really is the built-in sound card. So you can't do digital modes natively by just plugging in a straight USB cable with this radio. You have to get some sort of interface device, such as the DigiRig, which I recently reviewed on this channel. There's another one made by SignalLink. There's one made by Rig Expert. They have a digital interface now. These digital interfaces provide a digital computer provide a connection to a computer for these radios that don't have built-in capabilities to connect directly to a computer. So you can still do digital modes. You just need some extra equipment with this one. Not a big deal. If you're going to do mostly CW or sideband, this is going to be a great radio, and it's about half the price the first two we just talked about. Something else to note is that this one does not have an internal tuner. It's got the optional FC50 antenna tuner unit. It's a microprocessor-controlled antenna tuner that is designed specifically for the FT891, for this radio. It can be easily coupled, includes all necessary interconnect cables for operation right out of the box. So this radio has no internal tuner, and it has no internal sound card. But again, if you're using a resonant antenna, which a lot of people like to do that at Parks on the Air, and if you're not doing digital modes, it may not be a big deal. And even with buying those extra accessories, you're still going to come in underneath the 7300 and FTDX10 because this radio is at half the price just by itself. The next on the list is going to be the oldest radio from Icom that is still in production. Just kind of caveat that real quick, okay? So the Icom IC7100 is two generations older than the IC7300. It is more mobile, made for a mobile unit. You can see in the picture right here how the head of the unit is separated from the body. It's made to go to remotely mount. You can set the head on your desk, or you can put it in the car and hide the radio somewhere. The head of this radio does not connect to the body, so you don't have the option to run it as a single unit the way that the Yaesu FT891 can be done. So the Yaesu FT891, really kind of in a class of its own right now. It's the only full-powered, mobile-ready, configurable any way you want it, HF radio that's on the market today. But the 7100 comes close. It's still a little bit more money, about $9.95 after mail-in rebate. This one does have a built-in tuner, and it does have a built-in sound card. So you can do all the digital modes by just plugging it into a computer. It has a touch screen. It doesn't have a color screen, but it does have a touch screen, so you can change stuff and go through menus on the screen, which the 891 does not have. And it's got a really good name behind it. Icom's a really good brand, just like Yaesu is. So you can get a little bit more bang for your buck on this radio. It does include, unlike the previous three we've talked about, this one actually includes VHF 2 meters and UHF 70 centimeters, 2 meter 440, all mode. So it'll do FM, so you can work repeaters and you work FM simplex if you're at a park. It'll also do sideband and CW for 2 meters and 70 centimeters, which means those of you with technician license, if you haven't upgraded to general yet, you want to try to do some Parks on the Air or Summits on the Air with 2 meter sideband, this might be the radio for you. This is going to be the lowest priced option that is of a radio that is still in production that has these features available for 2 meters, 440, 6 meters, and all of HF. It's got a lot of extra bells and whistles that the previous 3 didn't have. It is older, so it's got a black and white screen, but it provides you with those features that we just spoke about. So it's another one on the list today. Moving back over to Yaesu for a second, kind of their answer to the 7100 all mode with the 2 meter 440 VHF UHF, they make an FT991A. Now, at the time of this recording, I searched a bunch of websites. I can't find these in stock right now. Again, global supply chain issues that are affecting the entire planet affect this entire industry. So if you find something and you think you might want to get it, you might go ahead and try to get it now because they might be sold out soon. This one right now, I can't find in stock. The Yaesu FT991, I don't even know what it sells for, really. Out of stock at Gigaparts, but over at HRO, they do have the price listed as $11.89 after a $40 manufacturer rebate, $12.29 regular price. So it's a little bit more than the IC7100. It's larger, it's heavier. I don't generally recommend this radio because for less money, you can get a 7300 and with a bigger screen. Now, this one has VHF 2 meter 440, VHF and UHF 2 meter 440 all mode for digital, for single sideband, for CW, that the 7300 doesn't have. But the screen is smaller, it's a little bit heavier. I don't personally like the form factor of this radio, but that's just my opinion. This is a really great radio. It's got a built-in tuner, it's got a built-in sound card. You can do digital modes very easily. And if you can find these in stock and you just like the Yaesu, some guys are just Yaesu fans, and there's nothing wrong with that. My favorite radio right now today is the FTDX10, which is a little bit more money than this and doesn't include 2 meters and 440, but it's got a bigger screen and a better front end than this one does. This one's a few years older. This one's around the same age as the 7300, so it's not going to have some of the same updated features for receivers like the FTDX10 does, but it's still a great addition. If you can find one of these, use it to Hamfest for a decent price, less than this price right here that HRO is selling it new for, or once they come back into stock. And if you want that 2 meter 440 with a color display that's a little bit smaller than the FTDX10 and 7300, but still color and really beautiful display, this might be the option for you. Now we're going to move into more of the used but still recommended radios. Now, I've never done one of these best of videos with used radios before, so we're gonna push our way through this. Okay, so those first 5 that I told you are all brand new and still in production at the time of this recording. These next 5 that I'm going to tell you about are out of production. Some of them for a while, some of them for not so long, but they still get used quite a bit. You'll see if you go do Parks on the Air or go do Field Day with a group of hams, you're probably going to see most of these radios used. So decide what you want and go from there. This one is the Icom IC7200. It's the predecessor to the 7300, but it's newer than the 7100. So basically what that means, there's a better picture of it right here actually on QRZ. This one is a more hardened looking radio. It was built for a more rugged condition. It was kind of built for a go box. It has a monochrome, very small display, no waterfall, no extra bells and whistles like that. It does have a built-in tuner, and it was one of the first ones from Icom to have a built-in sound card. The 7100 is a built-in sound card. This series of 7100, 7200 kind of follow the same numbering scheme from the 7000, which we're going to talk about here in a second, but they're all different. So this one, the predecessor to the 7300, is about the same size and weight as the 7300, without the color touchscreen, without the waterfall, but it has a more hardened case and a front-firing speaker, which makes it a little bit easier for field work and for putting in a go kit. And it does have a built-in sound card, so you just plug it right into the computer, do FT8 with no problem at all. These radios are really great. I've got one of these. I've used it a few times at Field Day. I've had very good luck with it. This one right here sold for $900 plus actual shipping, okay, and it is actually for sale right now at QRZ. This one on eBay is sold for parts are not working, but sold as parts only and tested and working, sold as parts because of dishonest part swappers. Yeah, that's a long story on eBay and even on QRZ and Hamfest that I'm not going to get into right now, but put a comment below if you want to know what a part swapper is. So this one's great because it's at $550, but that's the bid amount right now. So it may sell for twice that. I don't know. It may go for a whole lot more than that. Just depends on what the auction goes for. This one's the auction. So I suggest when buying any used radio, check the QRZ swap pages, check eBay, look at sold listings. Don't look and see what people are putting it for sale as. Look and see what's actually sold. Go to QRZ Swap Meet, which is right here. I'll put a link to these in the description below. And go to eBay, which is right here, and search for the radio make and model that you want and see what recent auctions and listings have sold for, and make your determination from there. Sometimes these prices can get kind of stupid at swap fests. There's guys asking for 25 to 50% more than you can buy them online for because they're so proud of them and they think they're worth so much more. Sometimes they are, depending on the accessories they come with, but just check and see what you're buying before you do that. But the IC7200, $550 to say $900. Okay, so $600, $700, $800 realistically. Yet this one's in a really clean condition right here, so I don't blame him for asking $900 for it. But we'll see if he sells it for that or not. So you can check QRZ swap pages to see what else has sold in that price range. But this is a great radio. It has all the bells and whistles that the 7300 does, minus the screen, the touch screen, and the waterfall. And it's a little bit cheaper, and it's going to be a really hardened, rugged radio for using in the field for Parks on the Air. We're going to move over here to the IC7000. This one is like the second generation in the line of these radios that kind of started this whole series of radios. So we're going to talk about the 706 here in just a moment. The 7000, I've got 3 of these. I have one in the truck, I have one in the go bag, and I have one where the VHF model doesn't work, and I'm having a guy look at it right now. But I love this radio. It's an excellent form factor. It's got a color screen, but no waterfall. It does not have a built-in sound card, so I can't do FT8 natively with it. It does not have a built-in tuner, so I can't tune anything with it, but there's an LDG tuner and a couple other tuners that interface really nicely with it. But on my vehicle where I use this and my tunable either hamstick or Tar Heel antenna, it makes for a great radio. I've done several Parks on the Air activations lately with the IC7000 sitting in my truck. November Papa 4 Juliet 59 into Kilo 1048. It makes for a great addition. The screen is removable, so you can mount the radio under the seat if you want to, and you can mount the screen remotely, unlike the 7200 and the 7300. And it's a smaller form factor. So this is basically Icom's version of the Yaesu FT891. I wish Icom still made something like this. They don't really make anything like this anymore. The 7100 is a close second to the FT891, but the FT891 has a screen that actually attaches to the body and is removable, unlike the 7100 that is only removable and you can't attach it to the body. And the FT891 is overall smaller than the 7100 and about the same size as the 7000. I wish Icom still made something in this line of radios so that we could have a smaller 100 watt, more compact, mobile capable radio, but at this time, the time of this recording, they just don't make anything like that. But the IC7000 is a fantastic radio. Really wish they'd bring back like a 20 or 30 year anniversary of this radio. This one right here sold for $850, and it actually sold for $850 plus actual shipping, no returns, same seller, I think. You can go check eBay. I've seen these things go for $800, $900 at swap fests. Sometimes they sell for that much, sometimes they don't. But I would say anything $700 or under for 7,000 is probably good if the radio's in 100% working condition. If you find one for less than that, then go grab it. Some guys are asking $800 and $900, and I guess they're getting it for it because they're getting harder and harder to find, but it's still a great radio. So Icom IC7000 definitely on the list today. Moving over here, a search query. This is the one that kind of started it all. There was an Icom IC706, which was a full HF radio that looked kind of like the 7000, but it was an older version. And you can see it has the removable screen. The screen will attach to the radio. It's still the small, compact, mobile version, still 100 watts. The original 706 was HF only. They did a 706, HF and 6 meters only. They did a 706 Mark II, which added 2 meters, but it was only 20 watts. And then they did a 706 Mark II-G, which added 440 at 30 watts, and it bumped 2 meters up to 50 watts. So the most sought-after one in this line of radios, the newest one, the latest one, is the Icom IC706 Mark II. However, if you're just going to do HF at Parks on the Air, which is the most popular bands to use at Parks on the Air, is 20 meters, 40 meters, 15, 10 meters sometimes. The 706 will work great. Now, this one right here, $525 or best offer, shipped to your door with shipping. And this is a beautiful looking radio. This guy's only asking $525 for this really great radio. And I'm kind of tempted to buy this myself. If you guys see that, if I share this link in the description, you go see that it's sold. put a comment below and ask me if I bought it, because maybe I did. I don't know. But this is a great, this one kind of started the whole thing. There was a 706, 706 Mark II, 706 Mark II-G. After that, the 7000 was released, and then it's been 7100, 7200, 7300. And they just kind of seem to be all over the place with those model numbers because they've all changed. All four of those have changed pretty drastically from the 7000 to 7300. And I wish that Icom would make something mobile for that these days, but oh well. These older Icoms are great. They work well. If you get one from a clean environment with the box and the manual that's been very well taken care of, it's a great radio that'll last you for years and years. And since they're a mobile-sized radio, they make a great addition for Parks on the Air. Yaesu offers something very similar. This is the FT857. I should have said this in the beginning. The IC706 Mark II-G that has a 2 meter and 440. The IC7000 also has 2 meter 440. The IC71 also has 2 meter 440. They removed all that, the 7200 and later. The Yaesu answer to those line of radios is the 857D. The 857 was very popular for a long time. They've been discontinued, kind of in lieu of the FT891 that we spoke about earlier. The 857 is smaller. It's got a very tiny screen, like double the size of a postage stamp screen. It's monochrome. It is 100 watts. It does not have a built-in tuner, and it does not have a built-in sound card, but they're very small, compact, lightweight, portable, removable screen that will attach to the body or can be mounted remotely. And they do include 2 meters and 440. So it's an all-mode, all-band transceiver similar to the 7000, similar to the 706 Mark II-G, similar to the 991A and the 7100, which are still in production. But these older radios kind of go for a little bit less money, and they're still very much sought after. This one right here, he's asking $770 plus shipping and handling, and it was sold for that price, presumably for that price. There's no other details down here. But he had the box, he had the manual, he had all these extra stuff for it. It's a very good package for $770. You can get one of these. So again, check the prices of sold items at QRZ, Swap Pages, and at eBay, and maybe a couple other places too, if you want to check what's a decent price for these radios. The last one we're going to talk about today is its big brother, the 897. And the main difference between the 857 and the 897 is just kind of like the form factor. Still includes VHF, UHF all mode, so you can do digital modes. You can do sideband, you can do CW. Does not have a built-in tuner. Does not have a built-in sound card. Actually, I might be wrong on the tuner part. Somebody correct me in the description or in the comments below if I'm wrong on the tuner part. But this one right here has got an LGDG meter that comes with it. He is asking $750 via PayPal, and I will split shipping to 48 states. So he'll split the shipping with you, and it comes with all this good stuff here. This is it's a larger radio, but it's all-inclusive. It's still portable. It's not really made for mobile mounting. This is actually the predecessor to the 991A, I believe. So it's a little bit smaller than 991A, not really made for mobile mounting, although you can mount it in a mobile. But it's larger than the 857, and it's got a couple extra buttons on it and whatnot. It's got a larger screen. A lot of people like this radio. I don't think it was nearly as popular as the 857 back in the day, because the 857's popularity was due to its size, form factor, and portability. This one was a little bit less portable, but it's still a great option for POTA, because as you can see right here, this guy's got it in a Pelican type case, and you can carry it around with you wherever you want to go. So the 897, another great option from Yaesu, predecessor to the 991, and a really good option for Parks on the Air, which is what we're talking about today. So guys, those are the 10 that I have chosen. Those are the 10 that I would recommend the most. Somebody's going to come along in the comments and probably say, what about Kenwood? What about Alenco? And if you watch my best HF radio under $1,000 of 2020, then you will see several radios that are really good from Kenwood and Alenco. Currently, right now, Kenwood's not really producing anything due to supply chain issues. Alenco's in the same boat. So while you can get some of those radios for used prices, and if you want to do that, then that's great. These are the ones that I would personally more recommend today. Okay, so if you made it to the end, I really thank you for watching all these. I'd like to know what your comments are about all 10 of these radios. I'd like to know which one you use. If you use one of these for Parks on the Air, put a comment below. Put the word Kenwood in your comment. Start your comment with the word Kenwood. That way I know you watched to the end. I really appreciate you guys being here to the end. So 73 to all. Really interested to see what you have to say about this video. And check out these comments from a random commenter. So I like to share these comments when I can. I don't like to be too rude about them, but Twisted TV says, here's my suggestion. Clean up the shack because it looks like you threw a grenade in there. It's really messy. Looks like a 14-year-old messy room. It's also dusty, too. Sorry, I'm a neat freak. I'm some serious OCD. And my only comment to him was, you must be a new ham because your ham shack is never clean. Don't you know that?